Hi, my name's Josh.
And I'm Alex.
And I'm here to ask some unfiltered questions.
And I'm here to answer some unfiltered questions.
I know you're a bit of a joker, so did you want to start us off with one of your favourite jokes?
Sure. How do you make a fruit punch?
I don't know, how do you make a fruit punch?
Give her boxing lessons.
Going on to your diagnosis, can you tell us what actually is your diagnosis?
So my diagnosis is mild to moderate intellectual impairment and autism.
You know how autism is often described as a spectrum. Where would you place yourself on that spectrum?
Well, you get people with autism who are above general population intellect, all the way to people who are non-verbal. So I'd say probably halfway
point? Yeah. Well, going on from that a little bit, how's your life changed since you've been diagnosed?
Oh, I think with that diagnosis came the appropriate schooling. It was clear to my parents halfway through grade 2 that classes became too big. You know, the noise was a big factor again.
So diagnosis helped you get the supports that you needed? It
did. And another thing I meant to also mention is early intervention is so great these days. So, you know, if your kid is showing traits of autism, get them checked out from a very young age and get these supports needed because it's actually changed.
Because there's so much more available now than when you and I were kids.
Oh, absolutely.
Do all people diagnosed with autism love trains?
I tend to think it's false. As I say, I've got a lot of autistic friends. They're not obsessed with trains. They catch them, but they're not obsessed by them.
People on the spectrum are picky with foods, true or false?
They can be, depending on field and tastes and, sensitivities with that. I don't have any safe foods, and I have my favourite things that I like to cook. Recently started doing a pea pesto carbonara, so
that's carbonara.
Sort of broadening the horizon a bit.
So that sounds like quite a lot of myths busted in that case. So there's some misinformation out there about how certain medications or vaccinations cause autism. What do you think about that when you hear that type of stuff?
I think it's nonsense. You could take 20 vaccinations and not get autism. So, let's put that one to bed, shall we?
Do you think it's rude for someone without autism to assume that somebody else is autistic?
To judge that someone has autism when you've got no knowledge of that, I think that's wrong. I don't think that's the right way to go about it.
We know that there's a trend with people self-diagnosing autism. What are your thoughts on that?
People work in these professions for a reason. I think, use them. I think it's dangerous not to sometimes.
And without it, you can't actually get the supports that you need.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of slang language in the disability space. How does the increase in the use of slang terms such as autism, Aspie, neurospicy make you feel?
I think cut the slang. Where people with autism, it's a bit the same as, calling people with intellectual impairment retarded. I think it makes people feel worse. I think it's a form of name calling. I think it should stop.
What one thing would you want to say to people who are not on the spectrum?
Before thinking or acting negatively towards people like us, flip the suit around and imagine if you were us, and please treat us the same way as you'd want us to treat you.
As companies and organisations have become more aware of autism in recent years, have you been using or appreciating the benefits of things like quiet hours in shops or low stim spaces at events or concerts or things like that?
If not for me, for other people. As I say, I'm a social butterfly. I'm more of a social person with autism than quiet. I think people are becoming more aware in general of autism, its struggles, and they're doing their absolute best to be able to, make it possible for people to join
be inclusive.
Thanks for watching today's video. If you have any questions or queries, please don't hesitate to ask.